And so let's get it started. I'm Catherine White, your host for our lunchtime conversations with men and women making change for the better across Virginia and across the world, really. So we are definitely a family here today, and we're a community you're a community we honor every week with great programming to bring us all together. So today, get prepared. Our topic is protecting what matters. It's all about community. And we're going to hear from great speakers who are fighting for and protecting their community, from the battlefields to helping women, to helping welcome and care from refugees settling here, to a story about the fight to preserve a historic Black community. So let's bring up our guests to say hello. Hello, Gayle Tzemach Lemmon. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm so glad. Well, so excited. It was so great to talk to you yesterday. We are so excited to hear you about the books you've been writing. So I'm so glad that you're here today.
I'm so glad to join you. Thank you. What an amazing community.
Yeah, exactly. We're building it. So thank you for being here and joining us. And next up, we have Chef Noor, restaurant entrepreneur and executive chef of the Mantu in Richmond, here to talk about his service as chefs for Afghans. Hello, Chef.
Hi, Catherine. How are you doing? Thank you so much for having me here.
I know, and so great for you to be here. I know you're in the middle of the busiest time of the day for you, Chef.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Next up, we're going to have about the story about preserving this great historic community. We have Diane Drake, Brown Grove historian. Hello, Diane.
Hello.
Hello. Look, oh, that's Renada Harris. Hello, Renada. I'm glad you're here. And we have Diane Drake. How are you doing, ladies?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing just fine. Thank you for inviting us.
Yeah, we got Diane. We're so glad we got your name right, Diane Drake. And we cannot wait to hear about, it's so important, right? About what you are doing to preserve your community. And so thank you for being here. And what would a power lunch be without a candidate? So today, first time on, we have Linwood Blizzard from HD 99.
Hello,
Linwood.
Catherine. Hey, thank you for having me on today. We're excited to be here with you.
Yeah, we're taking you away from a probably phone call time.
Absolutely, but it's worth being here to be with you.
Well, great. Thank you so much, Linwood. I can't wait to hear from you later. So super for being here. Now for the show business. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and put your thumbs up on our videos. And make sure also you follow us on social media. And my team will put all the links in the chat. Thank you. And then our most powerful part of the show is the after chat. So after 1 o'clock, that's where everything good happens, as we say, behind the scenes, where we really get to talk and we really build our community there. So make sure you stick around. And most importantly, support our show. Become a patron. We'll put the subscription in there. We would love to have some new subscribers to support our show. So thank you to everybody who does back our show. So let's bring up the Power Crew team. Jolicia, hello. You are our co-host and MC for this show.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Network Nova, for inviting me back for the second week in a row to co-host. I'm excited to be here with all of you today, and I'm excited to co-host this segment and share with you guys what this community really means to all of us here in Virginia. So
yeah, I like how you said that. You know, you were talking before in the pre-chat that about voting, and seems to be super important for community too, you know, so.
Absolutely. Yes. And when the days are winding down, the time is now going against us here in Virginia. So if you guys, any of you guys haven't voted yet, get out. Early voting is still open. So of course, we're going to vote. Election day is coming up, and
yes,
every vote counts, you know,
yes.
Your vote. Yes, your power.
Your power, and for your community. It's a great way to stand up too. So that's awesome. Stay on the screen, because next up we have Robin Warner, show wizard. What's going on back there behind the show? Do you got a cat, Robin?
I've got 4 sleeping cats.
Okay. What's going on about the concept of community? And then we have Stair, ambassador of Buzz here. We're going to talk about Yeah, go ahead.
We're talking about community, but one of the communities that we all feel very strongly about is the community of women. And we women were the force behind Flippin' Virginia Blue in 2019, and we're going to be the force in keeping it blue in 2021. And we've got a big rally coming on next week, the Power of Women Rally. And this is just some of the women who are a part of it. And I'm going to throw it over to our good friend Stair, the ambassador to Buzz, to tell us we've got a lot of women on the screen, but I think there are some more women who are part of this rally than are on the screen.
Yes, they're coming in. They're coming in every day, every moment. I checked earlier. We have 157 people registered, and probably more. There was, you know, every moment. So I love the graphic. Thank you for doing this. We've got some more graphics. We need to get everybody to get this out. And what's important is to bring a friend, okay, to build our community here so that we will all get out to vote. We have a tweet we would like you to comment on, retweet, quote, tweet, and like. Remember, it's left to right when amplifying. Also tag a friend if you want to invite, and use Keep VA Blue.
Nice.
If you don't tweet, please email your friends. In fact, everyone can send an email or text.
So are you putting that tweet link in the chat so everybody right now can go and amplify this tweet? And Dennis Orsinger, thank you, Dennis. Special shout out. I see you in the room. Thank you for being here. But she is always delivering these great graphics for us. And I'm surprised she's not sick of us. We're always like, please make this for us. She's wonderfully talented. And Rosemarie Shortstop, come on up, Rosemarie. Glad to see you. How's things going over there in your part of the world?
Doing a lot of adulting this week, so I'm practicing putting on makeup and doing my hair. I voted. Everybody get out and vote. And I've already registered for the Power of Women Rally. There is the link. Easy click. Join us. It'll be a great get out the vote time to hear from everybody. We've already started lining up. And the more of you that show, the bigger a party it will be.
Yeah, definitely. You know, we love to make big trouble, make good trouble. And this one is, we thought we have to do something, think outside the box, rally the power of women across Virginia, across all our friends. Sometimes are in all these different states as well. And it's going to be so much fun. Thank you to Senator Jennifer McClellan, especially, who is really helping us co-host this with all these wonderful top women, key leaders, and the grassroots. So thank you to my team. And let's get this party started, as we say. Let's come right out and talk about the power of community, the power of really amplifying also these voices with our special guest today. How are you? Could we put up on the screen? I would love Gayle Tzemach Lemmon. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Okay, great. So what I want to do, because I want to introduce you to our audience. I know some are here, some people are here from my book club even. People know about you as a writer. There's a lot to know about you. So we're going to put your full bio in the chat, but I'm going to give an abridged version for our audience so they can settle in and to hear about you. You're a 3-time New York Times best-selling author, centering your work around women around the world, living their lives at war and in conflict zones. Your books include The Dressmaker of Kirkana, about a young entrepreneur who supported her community under the Taliban, and Ashley's War, the untold story of a team of women soldiers on the special ops battlefield. And lastly, your most recent work, which I'm almost finished reading, The Daughters of Kobani, a story of rebellion, courage, and justice about an all-women militia facing off under ISIS. You are an adjunct senior fellow at the Council on Foreign Relations. Currently, you're a partner and chief marketing officer at Shield AI, and you graduated cum laude My mother would want to make sure I said that, okay, because that's what she was too. Cum laude from the University of Missouri with a bachelor's degree in journalism. You received your MBA from Harvard, receiving the 2006 Dean's Award for your work on women's entrepreneurship. You're a prolific writer. You're a speaker on national security topics, appearing on numerous...
more of this.
Oh my gosh. Okay, appearing on numerous broadcast platforms and publications and on TED forums. And you regularly write on Afghanistan politics and economy, and entrepreneurship is your passion. And the fight to end child marriage and issues affecting women and girls from Afghanistan, Syria, Rwanda, Liberia, Bosnia, and beyond. So that's the abridged version. So Gayle, thank you. So today's theme is about community, you know, why it's so important to protect it. The women in your novels are profiles in courage. The protagonists risk everything for their communities, and they are serving causes bigger than themselves, their families, their communities. So let's begin talking about your life first, the community that shaped the woman that before us here, the author, the journalist, the activists. What does community mean to you, and how it relates and shapes the lens that you write, report, and speak about?
Sure. And then because, so, you know, I've crossed many worlds and definitely not working in daily journalism anymore, but I think storytelling is something that, you know, becomes part of your soul. And for me, it is about community. I grew up in a community of single moms in Prince George's County, Maryland. And I think it really gave me a desire to talk always about communities of women underestimated from the outside who rise to a cause bigger than themselves.
Yes, this theme that you say, this undercounted and underestimated. What do you mean by this when you talk about that in your?
You know, listen, I think the narrative of the victim always trumps everything when it comes to talking about women. And I think we just don't see so much the courage and strength and resilience around us, and also just the power of community. I mean, community is a theme that runs through every story I've had the privilege of telling in a book. Dressmaker of Karkana was about a teenager whose business supported her family under the Taliban and who created community at a time that was really bereft of hope. Then Ashley's War was about a community of women in uniform who the world didn't even know existed. And then Daughters of Kobani is about another community of women who really stood up to protect their community and ended up being kind of catapulted onto the global stage in the fight against ISIS.
Yeah, I mean, these stories, you're obviously passionate about these stories. It comes through. And I have to say, it must really reflect your own journey. I think it does. And your breadth of work around this is just incredible. And so let's talk about the really key when you this theme about women in community and really wanting to tell their story and really wanting to reshape how we view, especially, you know, we think that's important in the grassroots too, to talk about our story, but you really want to make sure that these women's stories are told. Why are they so important to tell the world? I mean, you definitely thought you've dedicated so much time to it.
I have, that's for sure. I mean, I would say this, right? And, you know, listen, that's why I'm delighted always to be with readers. It's such a privilege to give time, right? Time is so precious. And when people spend time with these ideas and these people, the whole point is that we want to make the personal universal, and we want people to feel like they've spent time with people who've done really heroic things, you know, often against every obstacle, with no state actor supporting them, with, you know, without resources, and have just risen to the moment in service to a cause greater than any one person. And I think that's so universal.
Right.
With women, I think, well, just one kind of thought on that. With women, when we see women do exceptional and groundbreaking things, we call them exceptions. And when we see men do exceptional and groundbreaking things, we call them leaders.
Right.
And I really wanted stories to kind of push us to say, wait a minute, you know, who do we see? Who do we count? Whose stories matter? Why don't we see women's stories as universal? How in the world is it that we don't still see women's stories across the political spectrum, across every divide, as universal and human.
Yes. I want to check some audio thing real quick with you. Is that coming from your office so I don't mute the wrong person?
Yes, hold on 1 second. I'm going to go yell at my husband.
Go yell at husbands. Oh my gosh, I had to yell at mine the other day while you yell at yours. I was working here and he came in at and just started talking to me. I have to tell you my secret, Gayle. So I mute myself and then I put my hand over my mouth and I shout as loud as I can to tell everybody to shut the hell up.
Zoom life, right? I
mean, I'm like this and I'm like, oh my gosh. So and your life in general, when I think about all you're doing now and you're talking about your community and 3 children, yesterday we were talking, taking them to school, writing these books. I mean, what an amazing person yourself that you're making space and time. And I can't imagine what it's been like for you since the fall of Afghanistan, or what we say when we withdrew, and you have been shouting from the I read your article. You shouted a warning about this a year ago in June when you wrote that article about, maybe it is time eventually for us to leave, but it's how we leave. And this is something that you talked about, and yet your voice, these voices weren't listened to. What's your feeling on this, and what has been your experience to date on what you've been dealing with?
I mean, it's complex. I never want to downplay the complexity. And it really was never about not withdrawing, it's just about making sure women had space in the withdrawal. And it's complex. And so now I think the really important thing is, getting those out that we can, who stood with the United States, NATO, and the international community. And then also supporting the 19 million women and girls who are still there. And this, they will find spaces for themselves, that I have no doubt. But the world needs to stand with them, with humanitarian aid, with making sure that there's a way that we support teachers there on the ground, right? With really making sure we support healthcare workers. We so often see this as, kind of a hot button issue. It's not. In the end of the day, to me, it's about a generation of professional young women, a generation of girls who dream big, and making sure that we support big dreams.
Well, when I think about your story and the Daughters of Kobani, and the courage these women had to stand up to ISIS. And when we think about this patriarchy, and I think about ISIS, I think about a group of people really dedicated to enslaving women. I mean, this is what these women stood up to fight against, and they did. They were this fight's ongoing, this theme, right? It's go up, down, they fluctuate. Yeah. It's not given freedom and equality, right? I mean, it's so precarious, our rights, and so important. We've talked about it. We've, what in your mind, what do you think really needs to happen when we talk about women's equality and trying to make sure that really does live strong across the globe? You've been a lot of places.
Yeah, I think it's really about women standing up for each other and showing up for each other.
I love it.
And across divides, across communities, and saying, I'm here for you, and I see you, and I count you. And that, I think, is so very important. What does that mean in real life? It means making sure that we help our neighbors, making sure that we amplify voices, making sure that we really stand up. And Daughters of Kobani, I think that so often we see women who do remarkable things as superheroes. And what I wanted to show is that these are women who were sisters, friends, cousins, daughters, just like the ones in your community. And if you look at who stands up in communities every single day and says, wait a minute, this far and no farther, it's women.
Right.
And that, I think, is what I wanted to show, because so often women are missing from our pages and our screens, and we don't get to see their stories, our stories, as universal. And it really matters that we expand the aperture and that we are the heroes of our own story.
No, it's true. And another thing, a theme that I think is so important that you really get out there is crushing the victim story. And I think that's important as we talk about advancing women's rights and so on, that you really were adamant about that, crushing the victim story. Your themes throughout your books about courage, resilience, bravery, that you showed the world how Afghan women are not victims. They're strong and fully capable. And I love this statement you said, the world just needs to get out of their way. And this reminded me of notorious RBG when she quoted the words of Sarah Grimke, a 19th century abolitionist, who said, "I ask no favor for my sex. All I ask of our brethren is to take their feet off of our necks."
Yeah, I mean, it is, the first time I went to Afghanistan, I met just the most incredible, strong women, all of whom had worked under the Taliban last time around. Think about this. There were so many girls who were breadwinners during years they couldn't be on their own streets. And they had just never gotten credit for all the work they had done. And I think some of it is just about seeing what's around us and making sure our eyes are open to everyone. And that, I had the privilege of giving a talk where I talked about, you can't count what you don't see, and you don't invest in things that are invisible. And it is about that investment piece that we really have to think about.
Well, talking about investments, another theme you talk about is education. Why is education so key in your estimation of really this is the key ingredient in making sure that women do excel where they are?
I mean, education is the best anti-poverty vaccine you can have.
Yes.
There's obviously a whole bunch of structures that are in place that make education less powerful. But when you talk about what that access is, and the theme that has animated the work I've had the privilege of doing is that suffocated opportunity is the enemy of global stability.
I like that.
And opportunity cannot belong to any one neighborhood, one zip code, one town, one last name, one community, right? Opportunity must belong to all of us. And I think that is something that I wanted these stories to show. That think about how much talent we're losing when a girl's married at 12 years old, the next Maya Angelou, the next Steve Jobs, right? The next, all of these people whose talents we miss out on because we count them out before they're even born. Or before their age 1.
No, right. No, and your work around really that the child marriage and pointing that out, that how that devastates the economies. Because I know this metric we can really, and you know more than I do about looking at how well a country is doing, is judge if women are doing well, right?
Yeah.
Then, like you said, right?
Right. I mean, women are always a canary in the coal mine. You can always tell how a society is doing by how it's treating women and girls, and what opportunity sets are open to those who identify as women and girls, period.
Yeah, and women obviously get that themselves, and girls. I was reading in the paper today, obviously on a lot of news feeds, they're talking about what's happening now, especially around education. And it is so funny how we understand that education is the key. And it's not like just a chance that this is where the first things that are pulled back from women is education, because like you have said, it's a key to putting bread on the table for empowering women, and it provides the dignity and the idea about their future. And we see this now that right now our women right now in Afghanistan, they're not back to school yet. Is that correct? So tell us, give us a little update now on what you know about what is happening.
Well, I think women are navigating the space right now. It's very difficult, but they're very brave, especially this young generation, so brave.
Yes.
And also, it's unclear, your next guest and our chef will talk much more about that. But the folks I've talked to, schools are open in some places. Women are back to work in some places. Lots of fear. There's lots of people underground I know who are professional women who just are scared about the uncertainty of what comes next. So I think we don't know. We know that there's a lot of fear, and we know that people are trying to figure out how to forge a future right now. And I think the one thing we can do is stand by as they show just how courageous they are.
Yeah, and in the sense of standing by, I mean, in your mind, do you think I mean, just now we're getting a little bit, in the weeds, but ensuring that we see this progress based on even maybe providing money or no money by saying we really like schools to open and tie it to something rather than just, tie it to something now, setting that standard. Is that a good idea, do you think, or in your mind?
This is a lot of the discussion right now. How do you think about aid? Is it conditional? Right now, more than 90%, and I know our chef can discuss this so beautifully, more than 90% of families are facing food insecurity. We're talking to people. Last time around, I interviewed so many people who are, they sold in the 90s under the Taliban, baby dolls, doors, windows, shoelaces, anything that had economic value to feed their kids. And we're heading into that now because of cash crunches, because of inability to access central bank money. And there's a real debate in the policy community about how to engage. To me, what's most important is that women healthcare workers and women teachers, that we find a way the world is full of creativity. Let's find a way to support it.
Well, I love that. And and definitely that's a good way to segue eventually to chef. I do want to encourage people in the room. I don't know if you can see the chat, if there's any good questions, Rosemary, that anybody has, but to read the books that you've written, they're such a gift to all of us. They really do reshape how we view the story of women, or just to be able to tell that story. And it wasn't like you told it from afar. You have so much courage to embed yourself. You've traveled so much there that obviously you're well known. These are your friends, these are your sisters. This is your community. Any last wrap up words before we move on?
No, I would just say this, there's so much power in this webinar. And I think, to exercise it, you have to recognize it. And I think that goes across communities and across lines. And I just hope people recognize their power and realize what a difference you can make, regardless of what you think kind of coming into this. I hope people feel inspired to do more coming up.
Well, yeah. And if there's any way, we'll put some links in there. I know there are people this is why we wanted to have Chef on. There are people out there helping. And I think that people are looking for ways to definitely empower. So thank you. And please, I see some people from my book club in this group. We will be talking about the book, Daughters of Kobani. Very exciting that two of your movies will be made. I mean, two of your books are going to be made into movies. How exciting is that? Ashley's War and Daughters of Kobani. So congratulations on that, my friend. Well,
thank you. Step by step.
Step by step. Well, we'll be looking forward to hearing more and your voice in the media. We will put all those social links in the chat for everybody. Definitely get the book, read her articles. This is the best way to really get an inside look at what's happening in Afghanistan. So our next guest, Chef Noor, welcome. How are you, my friend? I'm so glad you're here. And I know that this is such an important topic for you. And I would like to give people a chance to get a background look of what the work you've been doing. Robin, do you want to tee up the intro we have for Chef?
It's an Afghani culture to serve people. So my dream was, when I opened a restaurant, was to serve refugees. خوش آمدی جان بخیر خوب خیر بخیر چالو خیرت از فامیل خوب هستن بخیر آمدین خوش دیگه ما اون نان چیزا براتون میارم I contacted IRC. I said, if they're coming to the United States, their first meal would be on the Mantu. And I really feel proud when I serve people, especially from my homeland. Sometimes I deliver food to their doorsteps and welcome them. When I don't have time, then I call IRC and their staff will come and pick up the food and deliver to them.
Welcome, Chef Noor. It's such a pleasure. It was a pleasure talking to you yesterday. This is a painful topic as well for you. I know you have only been here since 2015, a refugee yourself. Talk about that. You never lost hope. Hope is most important to you, as you say, now more than ever. You fled your community, leaving behind everything. Now you're helping the Afghan refugee community as they settle here in the US. So tell us about the work you're doing at Chefs for Afghan, and also why it's so important to you to stand up and serve this community, to protect it.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me, give me the chance to be here with you all. First of all, I should say that when you talk about hope, I learned to be hopeful when I lost my dad, when I lost my family during the first invasion of Taliban in Afghanistan. When I learned the hope, to be hopeful and be strong all the time, was the reason behind that was my mom. She was the one who always encouraged me and said that you can do it, son. So, and that really means a lot for us, for the men in community, that any community cannot be a successful community if they don't support, if they don't listen to their women. My mother made me to be tough and strong to fight against any darkness, and be strong and never lose any hope. I mean, we have seen in Afghanistan that there are so many things going on, this chaos. We have never believed that this thing gonna happen this soon in our country. And it took us back to those darkness moments that I suffered a lot. That, like me, there are thousands of other children when they lost their parents and they had to start supporting their family. It's really hard to believe that at this 21st century we are going backward, and women are not allowed to be educated, which is the foundation of a society. The foundation of a community is women. Mm-hmm. If they don't have education, that means that community is no longer in a stabilized society or country, or we can go up to the nation, to the entire world. So in any religion, I think they always recommended everyone to be educated, especially men and women, mm-hmm. because women are the base of a foundation of any society. And we should learn this from all over the other countries, like in Afghanistan. My mother trained me to be able to serve the community. So I've learned most of stuff from my mom, serving others.
Well, yeah, and that's so important, and it's so it's touching, and I know that it just must be so difficult. But yesterday when we spoke, I was just struck for your, like you're saying, this runs deep in you to serve, and this is something that you, like Gayle said, a lot about. Back in Afghanistan, you started cooking at an early age. You were chef at 18. You know what happened in Afghanistan. You saw it, you witnessed it, from the contractors that you cooked for how you were able to get this training, and then to have to flee yourself and be here. But you took those skills here, and tell us what happened when you came here and how you got to this point where now you are at the executive chef at the Mantu, and then also what you're going to do with those now as you see your community needing your voice, needing to have their bellies full. How important that is,
Well, I've suffered a lot. So if I go back a little bit to the regime of Taliban, they controlled the country for about 4 years almost. That I was in there, and I suffered a lot. Most of our people, like 90% of the people, were not able to have their basic things like no food, no drink, nothing. So mostly we had we were facing so many challenges and human crisis back home And the same thing happens right now. What I've learned was that I have committed to myself that I'm gonna learn to cook, and once I become a chef, then I'm gonna be able to serve our community, to serve those people who are in need. And this is our job. That whatever you can do to support those families who are in need, to support those people who are in a very tough situation. As you all saw that, this chaos took place, and we most of our people leave the country. There are some parents are here, the children are back in Afghanistan, or children are in the United States, the parents are back there. So it's really hard for them. But I really feel proud to be someone who can lend a hand to them and support the people. And it's my honor to be the servant of our community.
Yes, and I know this International Rescue Committee has helped people, helped you. And so the last takeaway, we have a wrap up just in a minute. Is there any last words you'd like to say? First of all, I can't wait to meet you in person. Your restaurant, Mantu, just sounds so lovely in Richmond. And you just really, it struck me just that chord in you about the importance of serving community. How people can help. I mean, is there any way, your Chefs for Afghans are cooking so that you're part of this community cooking. So you'll continue this work?
Definitely. I've been doing this since I started cooking in the kitchen. So I really love to be a part of this, and this is a God gifted to me. When I can say God has chosen us to be the servant of people, and I really feel proud when I serve people. Like when I wake up in the morning, I'm coming to work, I feel that how many people I should serve today. Then when I go back home, then I say, wow, I did serve a bunch of people today. Or we also have so many homeless people in the country. Besides we having so many refugees who are coming from Afghanistan, and we also have homeless people in our society.
Yes.
That was also a part of my commitment to serve them food, to support them as I can.
No, you are inspiring. So Chef Noor, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Catherine.
I hope everybody in this room is equally inspired. If we do have any links where people can donate, Rosemary, what we have up our sleeve, and we can put in there where people can get involved and visit. If you're in Richmond, please visit Chef. I cannot wait to meet you in person, sir. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Catherine.
Yeah, it's our honor to have you. So thank you. And moving on to another community, and I love the power of community, and it really is becoming apparent how important it is. And Chef is feeding those bellies, because if you're hungry, it's really hard for you to concentrate on anything else. So Jolicia, so glad you're here to take over our next section. So go right ahead and let's learn what we have to learn to help this community.
Well, thank you so much, Catherine. And I am here, and speaking of community, I'm here to discuss a community that I hold completely dear to my heart, the community Brown Grove, a historically Black community in Hanover, Virginia. Residents are fighting to stop the construction of a gigantic Wegman distribution center across the street from the Brown Grove Baptist Church. The situation in Brown Grove is a part of a long history of environmental justice and environmental injustice within Black communities that Black communities face every single day. I personally experienced what it's like to be a Brown Grove resident by walking in the footsteps of both Wegman and Brown Grove through the Wegman's second walkthrough of the historical land. And I have witnessed what's left of a segregated school that was burned down, 7 burial sites that was hidden underneath years of forest, 2 blocks from an old farmhouse, and visible grave sites of Brown Grove residents' family members that literally like steps away from Wegman's caution tape. So I'm still overwhelmed from the emotions that I shared with the Brown Grove community, who is fighting to save the only place they belong. And so before my walkthrough, there stands 150 years of Black history behind me. Today, our conversation will consist of Diane Drake, who is a Brown Grove historian, and Renada Harris, who is a Brown Grove member and activist. So welcome, Diane. If you don't mind, just share with us the historical aspect of the Brown Grove community and why you believe Wegmans Distribution Center will be a burden for your community.
Well, good afternoon, Jolicia and others. My community, Brown Grove Historic District, resides in Hanover County, and it's a community to free and enslave people of color working on the farms back in the day and wanting something more precious than gold. They wanted to have their own freedom and to worship on their own and to build and to just to live in a community without fear of all the yesterday troubles. Brown Grove was named after, to my understanding, from our ancestors, Edmund and Martha Brown, which donated land to the community to build a church. And the mother of the community and a midwife was actually my great-great-grandmother, Caroline Morris. And she was 8 years old when she became free from slavery. She and her husband had 13 children. And from that union, now descendants of her share the boundaries of Brown Grove, and we make up basically the membership of Brown Grove Baptist Church and the community. The community, the boundaries considers Morris Road, which I believe you actually went down to visit the graves. That Morris Road was named after Caroline Morris, and now is known as Egypt Road. We also have Johnsontown Road, which two of her children lived on that road. So they were named, that road was named after family. And also historic Ash Cake. I mean, without Ash Cake, that's where my church resides, Brown Grove Baptist Church. I'm a member of that church for 59 years. We're proud of the work that we've done in the community, and we just want our heritage to remain preserved. We don't want our graves disturbed. We want our legacy to go on, or what our ancestors, what they strive for. The only thing that I believe that would, the community as a whole has not had the backing of our local and state government. It has always been the unfairness of that government to allow profit over people. And that kind of thing just needs to stop. They continue to encourage and allow zoning changes to overpower and to burden Black and Brown communities. And Brown Grove is definitely overburdened. So I would just like to say, it leaves us no hope of trying to preserve our sacred spaces in Brown Grove. And that's what we want. We want to do. We want our voices to be heard nationwide, and change must happen. And today I asked for help. I just asked for help to save Brown Grove. But in reality, all Black and Brown communities need to be saved, because no one wanted to hear our voices of yesterday, but it's a different generation now. So I believe that with the help of communities, the empowerment of women and the voices heard, I believe a change will come.
Thank you so much, Diane, for sharing that. And you're right, Black communities definitely deserve to be preserved, and Black history definitely deserves to be preserved, because Black history is American history. So, and we know that it's a huge part of your community. So thank you for sharing that with all of us. And then Renada, if we can get a quick intake, you're a resident turned activist. I mean, what has that experience been like as far as advocating now for a Brown Grove and, I mean, against Wegmans?
So this whole process has definitely been overwhelming. And we are just citizens of the county. And I'm a hairstylist, I'm at work now, and sitting in the hallway on the Zoom call, and Diane, she's retired, and we have other people that are customer service reps, and we are regular working day people turned into activists and surveyors and researchers trying to protect our community. And it's with the help of the organizations that we've been working with that we're able to do it. And we just want to thank our supporters, because this whole thing is definitely a learning process, learning about mosaics and delineations and the wetlands and NEPA. And we were living in a community for so long that was overburdened with these industries coming in that we were kind of desensitized to it a little bit. And we were sitting in this mess, and we had normalized our environment. And we didn't know that there was a name for it of environmental injustice. We just knew that these businesses continue to come into our community. But now we're a new generation. We have a voice. We have the capability of fighting the powers that be, and we will continue to do that by all means necessary.
Absolutely. And I want to let you both know that you guys are leading the way for environmental injustice in Virginia. So we are so proud of you. And just so honored to have you both here with all of us today. There are a lot of organizations. There's some links being dropped right now in the chat, everybody. We need call to action for Brown Grove. That is what we are asking for. Brown Grove, we need to be the backbone and make sure that we are here to support them every step of the way through this process. So thank you both for blessing us with your time, for sharing your testimonies and your stories. Keep up the good fight, keep up the good trouble, because this is only the beginning. We're going to continue to fight back, and we are going to continue to preserve history here in this country. And I'm so honored to be a part of you guys leading the way. So just thank you. We're happy and we're proud of you. Thank you guys for joining us. Yes, yes. And then I'm also here to announce that we have candidate Linwood Blizzard here with us today. He is a candidate for Virginia House of Delegates in my district, the Northern Neck. And he is going to bring lots and lots of changes, and he's here to join us to talk about what he's going to bring to the Northern Neck. So welcome, Linwood Blizzard.
Thank you so much, Jolicia, for your warm introductions and for the work that is happening across the Commonwealth, and I thank Network Nova for allowing me to stand before you today. I'm the Reverend Dr. Linwood Blizzard II, Democratic nominee for the House of Delegates in the 9th House District on this election cycle. You may not have heard of my name, but I'm one that has running not because I want to have my name in lights, but I'm running because I have been involved in the community. The Northern Neck in the 9th House District covers Lancaster, Westmoreland, Richmond, Northumberland, King George, and a third of Caroline counties. And in this region, I have been actively engaged. I currently serve as the senior pastor of the Macedonia Baptist Church in Heathsville, Virginia, in Northumberland County, as well as the calculus teacher at Northumberland High School, also in Northumberland County. My work in this region has been focused on building community and doing exactly what the theme is protecting our communities and making sure we're preserving what we have in front of us. My work has been inclusive of currently serving as the first vice president of the Boys and Girls Club of the Northern Neck, first vice president of the NAACP in Northumberland County, chairing the Committee on Justice for Northern Neck Baptist Association, as well as the Commission on Social Justice for the Baptist General Convention of Virginia. My work has been focused on how do we create more just spaces inside of our Commonwealth for everybody to have access and for everybody to move forward. It is what has driven me to come to this space to say my name is in the hat to serve as the next delegate in the 99th House District. My campaign has been rooted and focusing on 4 key things: jobs, education, infrastructure, and broadband. That focus has given us endorsements from the Sierra Club of Virginia, the National Organization of Women of Virginia chapter, AFL-CIO, the Virginia Education Association, and count nameless others as well. Where the last 2 are the first time endorsements have hit our House district in over 12 years. We are moving forward to do our work to make sure we are protecting all that is for our community. We're running against an incumbent who protects her own interests, protects what is best for her. And we come to understand that the word community, though it has an I in it, is surrounded by other letters. This is not about one person, this is about all people inside of a community. So we're focused on doing things that we're building on the work that has already happened in my work here, working alongside governmental, nonprofit, and religious organizations across this entire region to first focus on protecting our jobs. We've done work already to build capacity for small businesses, to give them greater exposure and access towards the marketplace. In addition, we will focus on protecting our environment, doing work presently looking at how to address issues of coastal flooding, as well as to deal with the issues of greenhouse emissions through different methods of farming, which will benefit our environment as well as the economics of our farmers. I believe we can balance economics and ecology at the same time inside of this space, out of my background as an engineer and my previous experiences. We also work on protecting our children. We gathered several years ago to bring together Northumberland County's clergy and even some actually conservative parents to actually institute full-day pre-K. So 80% of all kindergartners in the past 4 years in Northumberland have had pre-K because of the work we have done on the ground. We want to move that to the State House to create full funding for our schools across this entire district. We also want to make sure we're protecting our infrastructure and our broadband. We have seen the challenges of internet access, and we realize that the challenge is not really a broadband issue, it's an economics issue. If you don't have access to internet right now, you will not have economics in 20 years. We will create a greater widening of the middle class and creating a larger lower class and larger upper class, shrinking this middle class. We're running to try to preserve that middle class and protect that space for us. We need your help to make that happen. How do we need your help to make that happen? 1, we need you to, first of all, be active where you are in your own community, first and foremost. Not just go everywhere else where everybody's trying to go, but go be active in your community. Build authentic relationships with people who are around you. However, there's also 9th House districts. We encourage you, if possible, while you are doing that, to come to the House district. And first, to help us contribute to our campaign, we're continuing to raise funds to continue to get our message out across this district. Our House district is the 2nd geographically largest House district in the Commonwealth of Virginia, stretching about 90 minutes end to end. And we need your help to get that message out. We need help to also help us to move it forward by knocking doors and canvassing and making phone calls with us for that effort. We are excited for what is happening here on this House district, the transformation that's happening. I watch people who struggle with even the idea of voting last year to actually sign my petition to run for office this year. There's a fire here in the 9th House district, and we want you to join that fire with us as we work to shift this district back to blue like it was 12 years ago in this House district, to make this moving Virginia forward. Please visit my website at blizzardfordelegate.com as we seek to move Virginia forward and make this Commonwealth more inclusive of all people and all communities.
Thank you, Blizzard, so much. We're gonna flip this district blue, baby. That's what we're here for. Thank you for blessing us with your time today.
Thank you.
Woo, that was a blizzard, as I say, right? That was a blizzard of information, good information. So Jolicia, it's that time where we need to tell people what they need to do. Or we say, get ready for the after chat for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, right. I'm getting ready so we can just sort of unwind. But I wanted to thank all of our guests today. It really was a special show. It was a moving show, learning about people that are coming here seeking refuge. And this is the community we have to welcome. Learning about historic Black community we need to preserve. These are all important stories. So, and I love in the room watching everybody telling me they've written postcards to help, they've donated. So it's awesome. And I want to give a special shout out. There's a special event tonight. Peter, I don't know if he's in it, Pete Conowit, and he has been doing Face the Music. I put it in the chat tonight for Dan Helmer at Dewdrop Brewery. I'm trying to think of what the name of that brewery is. But anyways, Eavesdrop, thank you. Eavesdrop Brewery. We need to get out. This sounds like a lot of fun. Let our hair down. And thank you to Pete for all he's doing for Face the Music. Yeah, stairs going. So awesome. So yes, let's wrap it up. Next week, we're going to have another great show, as we say, but we would love it if you guys support us by subscribing, being a Patreon, following us on Twitter. And I noticed the Twitter, we need to put the link in again. I went and everybody could maybe share it one more time. We need to boast that Twitter about our rally, the power of women, with all the grassroots showing up. And if you just got in late and you missed the beginning, make sure we put the link in there to join us. If you're a candidate, join us, sign up and register on that link for October 14th at 7 p.m. We are going to rally Virginia to bring this shit home, as I say, to win it. We got to do it for our community. So stay for the after chat. Thank you to my team. Thank you to everybody. Do you want to show the banner one last time with the partners, Robin? Or you want to just roll credits? Up to you. There we go. Look how beautiful. So again, let's show our power for our community. Sign up, be a part of this great event, and we'll see you next Friday. Be well. Love you all. Woohoo!